All right, well, good morning. My name is Mark, and I'm here to talk with you about foreclosure scams, and also I want to share with you a few laws out there that are designed to help you avoid foreclosure. So, who here has either experienced trouble paying a mortgage payment or knows someone who's had trouble keeping up with their mortgage payments? So, we have a few people in here. Well, we're going to start off by going over briefly the foreclosure process. So if you're a homeowner and you miss a late payment, that's usually not a problem as long as you get that payment in soon thereafter. But really it starts to become a problem after about 90 days. At that point, your lender will begin the foreclosure process. Now, after that, there's a whole lot of things that happen. You're going to have a chance to get current on your payments even after the foreclosure process starts, and you're going to have a chance to contest it. But the main point is that after about, I would say 7 to 9 months from that first missed payment, that's when your home is going up for auction, and that's when you're going to be evicted. Okay, so you're facing foreclosure. Now, the federal government in 2009 passed a few laws that are designed to help you deal with avoiding foreclosure. The main program we're going to talk about today is the Home Affordable Modification Program, HAMP for short. So what does HAMP do? Well, it's targeted at homeowners who are having trouble keeping up on their payments. Now this could be for a few different reasons. Say they became unemployed, or say the homeowner had unexpected medical bills and they can no longer keep up with their home payments. This law, HAMP, is going to allow for you and your lender to get together and rework the terms of your loan so that you can lower those payments. How does it do it? Well, the lender may do a few different things. They may lower your interest rate, or they might extend the term of your loan so that although you're paying for a longer time, your monthly payments are lower. But the end result is the same. The goal is to get your payments to about 31% of your overall income. Okay? Now, one thing about this program is that even if you don't remember anything about this program today, after you meet today, the lender is required to notify you that this program exists, and it's required to give you an opportunity to apply. That's if you're facing foreclosure. Okay, now once you qualify, I'll take a step back. Once you apply, it's going to halt the foreclosure process. Your home is safe from being sold as long as you're in the program. Okay, and this program is going to help you even if you're unemployed, and even if your home is backed by a VA loan. All right, so how do you become eligible for this program to help you lower your payments? Well, as long as you owe less than roughly $730,000. And the big qualifier is that you are you're less than 60 days late on your payment, you're in imminent default, or you're over 60 days late on your payment. So if you're about 60 days late on your payment, you're probably going to qualify, although your lender is going to tell you exactly whether you qualify or not. Okay, and then finally, you're going to want to show that you've come across some financial hardship. Say, for example, you've lost your job or you have unexpected bills. Okay, so now that I've told you a little bit about that federal program that's designed to help you avoid foreclosure, what happens if you can't hold off foreclosure any longer and it's going to happen? Well, remember back to the timeline I told you about, that foreclosure process. The lender is going to initiate the foreclosure process, and at that point in time, that becomes public information. So what does that mean? It means that everyone out there who wants to know that you're in foreclosure can know. And it also means that when you wake up the next day, there's going to be about 50 pieces of mail at your front door, and probably about 50 people also approaching you saying, I can help you avoid foreclosure. Now, I'm here to provide you with some tools that you can use to protect yourself. Because by and large, a lot of these people are going to be scam artists. So here's just a little news clipping from the Department of Justice. Last year, there was over $1 billion lost to scam artists. Over 500 criminal defendants were charged across the country, and it happened right here in Colorado too. Okay, so what do these scams look like? So the foreclosure process starts, people are going to know about it, they're going to approach you. So, from the DA's office, what's your name?
Claire.
Claire. So say Claire is undergoing the foreclosure process. So a scam artist is going to knock on Claire's door and say, Claire, I have a deal for you. I can make all of your problems go away. I can prevent your home from being sold because I know how to negotiate with the lenders. And you don't have to do anything. You can sit back, let me handle it all. Now, this is a very common scam because the scam artist will say, all I need is a few $100, $1,000 up front. You don't have to do anything, your problems will go away. Someone who's facing foreclosure under a lot of stress, they're going to think, well, sure, $500 is worth it to save my home. They're going to hand over this money, and the scam artist will be gone. They won't do anything. So what are some common warning signs? Well, if the scam artist insists that you don't contact your lender, if they say leave it all to me, that should be a big red flag for you. And also, if there's an upfront fee that they ask for, that should be, before they provide you any services and they request a fee, that should be a red flag too, because there's no guarantee that this person is going to follow through with their promise to help you. What does another forensic scam what does another scam look like? Well, the forensic audit. So say a person knocks on Claire's door and says, Claire, there's a deal to be had. I know a thing or two about the mortgage industry and I know the laws that apply, and I'm going to look through all of your loan documents, and if I can find any mistakes, then I can use that against the lender. I can say, lender, there's mistakes in these documents. You're not allowed to have mistakes, and you can be penalized for that. I can get your payments lowered. So, again, they're going to ask for a fee, $500, $1,000. They're going to ask for a fee up front before they review your loan documents. What a lot of people don't realize is that even if there's mistakes in your loan documents, the lender is not required to lower your payments. It's true that you might have an individual remedy. You can perhaps sue your lender. There might be other avenues to address the mistake that's been made. But the bottom line is that the lender is not required to just lower your payments because there happens to be a mistake in these loan documents. The rent to buy. So this one is one of my favorites. It's also called equity stripping or lease buyback. It goes by a few different names, but the premise is the same. Someone knocks on your door and they say, I can make your problems go away. They're going to ask that you deed over your house, and in return, you'll continue to live there, but just pay rent to the new owner. Now, once you deed over your house, that leaves you in a very vulnerable position because the person who now owns your house can raise your rent to a point where you can't live there anymore. And now, not only have you deeded them over your house, but you don't get to live there either. So there's a few different iterations of the scheme sometimes. Once you deed over the house, the scam artist will just collect your rent payments for a little bit and take off, leaving you high and dry. The thing to remember is that once you deed over your house, it does not relieve you of the obligation to pay that original mortgage. So the danger in this is that you'll deed over the house, the scam artist will collect some money, take off, and you'll still be on the hook for the original payments, only you don't even have your house anymore. Okay, the bait and switch. Someone knocks on your door and says, I can help you lower your payments. They're gonna entice you with low rates and attractive offers. And so this scam can unfold in a few different ways. Once you get into the process of negotiating with this person, they might change the terms of the deal at the last minute. So negative amortization, I want to talk about this briefly. The reason why they can sometimes offer these ultra low rates for you is because of negative amortization. This is when you have your interest charge or your monthly payments don't even cover your interest charges. Okay, so you're making payments that don't even cover the interest charges, and the remainder of the interest charge gets added to the principal. So you're making payments, but your debt is only growing larger. Another common scenario in this bait and switch is that tucked away, you'll have a stack of papers to sign, and tucked away somewhere in there is a transfer of your home to the scam artist. So you could be giving away the home and not really knowing it because it's in the fine print. Okay, so I want to recap for you. Yes?
Can I ask if what you're saying is you can give away your home, but not the mortgage. So if you were, say, upside down in your home, but they took both, then wouldn't they be responsible for the
They're not
additional
taking the
debt?
mortgage.
Well, they're two
They're
separate.
responsibilities.
And this is part of when you're sitting at the closing table and there's like a whole bunch of documents, right? Well, there's a separate thing. There's the note and there's the mortgage. The note is a personal debt with your name attached, right? And that you are not getting free of. The mortgage is simply securing the note, meaning that in the event you don't pay on the note, meaning the debt, the loan, as it were, they can grab your house. That's foreclosure. But they're two separate things. So the note, you are still liable on. The mortgage is something different. That goes to the dirt. That's the title to the land. That's something different. But it is attached to the note. But you could still be liable on the note.
Okay, can't they just foreclose on the house anyway?
Well, except if you're underwater, the problem is that the property, especially nowadays, that's oftentimes not going to cover the full amount that you owe. And that's especially true because of interest charges, because of initial fees that are rolled into that debt. So that's what they call underwater. And that means that the amount that you actually owe on that note exceeds the value of the property.
Okay.
So let's say they foreclose on the house, and then they say, oh, you still owe $20,000. You're still on the hook.
Okay, so if you got scammed during foreclosure, somebody comes in, you accidentally sign your house over to them, they take the property, what, can't the mortgage company cover the bank?
Well, and the most difficult thing, and I think with the warning signs and through all of these are scam artists, you know? I mean, and oftentimes, sure, you can prove fraud and gee, that's all fine and good, but good luck finding them, good luck getting money out of that, you know. There's so many different reasons why that's going to be extremely, and you're still on that note. And you have to be really careful to see what, and this is actually an area where you definitely, before you go into anything like this, or you even talk to these folks or give them the information, because they could also be identity thieves. But Boulder County has fabulous, this is like,
This is like the primary thing that we
Yeah.
do. The other counselors that I work with is foreclosure counseling. So we'll sit down and talk with you for 2 hours if need be about every single thing about your situation and let you know what's real and what's not real, and pretty much anything you get in the mail after you're in foreclosure is probably a scam.
Yes, and I really want to emphasize this, is that's like a free service to make use out of, and then you can know whether you're dealing with, you know, because all of these things are just like red flags right in your face that you know you got to be careful. And you could be dealing with some pretty surly individuals. So this is exactly the place to come and to make use of those, and then you would know, what are your different rights, what are true credit counselors, what really can be done, all of the laws, whether you qualify. So the resources here are really great. Really
And
great.
also,
Cutting edge, really
so
good.
what Mark was talking about at the beginning, the making home affordable program and all those programs, there is no money necessary in order to pursue any of that. So anyone that's asking you to pay money and saying that's the only way to do it, that's incorrect. Yeah.
It sounds like what she was asking a minute ago, though, is if you transfer the house to a scam artist, but you're still responsible for the debt, if you stop paying the debt, can your bank repossess the house from that person that you transferred it to?
Okay.
I
That's
think-
what I understood her question
Yeah,
was.
you're right.
And I think the deed of trust is still in place.
The deed-
So,
They most likely can grab that property.
and if they can't, they're still gonna try to collect, because the house would just pay off some of the loan. Or all of the loan, maybe. But if they can't get any of the loan paid off because they can't get the property somehow, then they're still gonna want their money from you on the note, yeah.
So this is one example of how this might unfold. Going back to the equity stripping. If you're approached by someone who says, sign over the deed to me, and you can continue living in the home as long as you pay me rent, you are still responsible for the mortgage, for the loan. But what the scam artist says is that I'll use your rent money and to pay off the loan. I'll continue making the payments on your behalf. They don't. So meanwhile, months go by, they're collecting your rent, the foreclosure process is proceeding, and that home might be taken and auctioned off. But the scam artist doesn't care, because by that time he's collected 6 months of rent money. He'll be gone. The bank will take the home and kick you out. And meanwhile, you still are responsible for the mortgage. So that there's a fine distinction between the homeowner being responsible for the mortgage and then and the bank being able to foreclose, and then also who owns the house.
Probably in a more simplified possible way is you think of this as your car. Someone just says, let me drive your car for a while, and you're stupidly giving them the payments for them to drive your car, but they didn't go through the loan process for that car.
Right.
So that you're still stuck with the payments on that car regardless, you're still stuck with that loan. And so basically, unless that so-called scam artist goes through the whole procedure of taking over your loan through the loan process, you're stuck with things with the car.
Exactly.
And if you sign over the pink slip, they own it. There's a
But
title.
the loan,
It's
they
separate
haven't
than
gone
the
through the loan
loan.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The title's
You're still a
separate.
lien holder.
So to recap the warning signs, if you're asked to make mortgage payments to anyone other than your lender, you should take a step back, slow down, and figure out what's going on, because this is the classic sign of being scammed. The scam artists don't want you to make payments to your lender, they want you to make payments to them. If you're asked for fees up front, again, there's no guarantee that they're going to deliver the services they promised for you. So if you pay money up front, they could take off and leave you hanging without having received anything in return. If you're promised a loan modification, if someone promises you something, that's a red flag, because nothing's guaranteed. And if you're pressured to sign papers that you don't understand. Sometimes these papers these loan modification packets and documents can be hefty, and there can be a lot of papers that you might not know about. And if you're pressured to sign these things, that should be a red flag for you. You should probably seek the advice of an attorney or someone else that's familiar with this process to give you an informed, to allow you to make an informed decision. Okay, so I just want to touch briefly on the Colorado Foreclosure Protection Act. So all the scams that I just talked about, if you do engage with someone who's offering to, yes? Oh. Was that a question?
No,
5 minutes? Okay. If you do engage with someone who is offering to help you through the foreclosure process, Colorado has a law that is designed to put all of the terms of the agreement in big, bold fonts so that you understand it. Also, there's provisions in these contracts that have to make you aware of a right to cancel. So if you're not seeing these provisions in big, bold font allowing for a right to cancel, telling you explicitly how much money you're paying and what services you're being offered, then you know that these agreements that you're signing are not legitimate. Okay, so again, the takeaway, we went over the red flags and also the laws that are designed to help you. We mostly talked about the Home Affordable Modification Program. Any questions?
I wanted to know if you could, is this applicable if you know it's coming, but you are not 60 days late yet?
Yes, so so the HAMP program is designed for people that aren't over 60 days but are in imminent default.
So you actually have to not pay first before you qualify,
Right, as long,
which then affects your credit rating. So there's no way to not affect your credit rating and modify your mortgage.
you can, and this is a place where you would want to immediately schedule an appointment and know how to work this out. The housing counselors here would help you do that, because again, it's really gonna depend on your facts and circumstances and how you can best navigate that in order to minimize the impact on your credit rating. Make use of these programs, find out if there is any money for it and how you might benefit from other programs on a state and local level as well. So that's where I would really encourage you, again, and I know people hate that about attorneys, but it is true, you have to look at the facts and circumstances, and I would strongly encourage, that's a perfect time right away to schedule an appointment to talk to somebody here.
the imminent default, I put that word out, imminent default. What that means is that if you're not above 60 days, but say you've only missed one payment or maybe 2 payments, the bank or the lender will determine whether you're in imminent default. So they have a lot of discretion to determine whether you're about to be foreclosed on, even if the process hasn't started yet. And that is going to be a facts and circumstances test. So they're going to look at when you apply to this program, you're going to send them every single type of document you can imagine, highlighting your income, your expenses. They're going to look at all of that and then determine whether you're about to be foreclosed on.
And it's such an important point, the question about, credit rating and everything else, and that's why, again, you want to meet with a housing counselor right away, because it's one of those, and these programs are so complicated, and the question of whether or not there's money, I mean, it's sort of sad, but true. And so I would strongly encourage, that's a time where you just, make use of that and come down and get a free consultation, because then you can help navigate that best, because you're absolutely wise, really smart to think about how that can impact your credit rating.
What was the question? I didn't hear the beginning of it.
If there's applying for the HAMP program, if you have a low credit score, and specifically if it's low because you've been missing your...
Yeah, that's not part of the process, because HAMP is for people who are in trouble and have missed payments generally. So your credit score is going to go down because you missed payments. It's
Yeah,
not
this is from
looking
my
at
brother
should
who
you
has
get new.
Right.
excellent credit rating. He does not want to have it affected, but he's using up all of his
Well, HAMP.
savings and stuff to go through, and so I'm just wondering if there's so he should just make an appointment.
He should
basically.
call us and,
Yeah.
and come in. Yep.
Because there might be other options, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's absolutely, there might be other options, for sure.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you.